This is the very first time, I'm coming on Instagram Live on this channel that's talking about Single with a Purpose. Single with a Purpose is a platform that gives single parents, men and women who's done um, what you would say the union before, and they're now back to where some other people will say it's a square one, and they're ready to mingle. And we're also at Single with a Purpose. We get together for the sake of the mature singles between 35 to 60 who want to get into the place of relationship that is going to lead to marriage, not forgetting the divorced. If you're separated, well, hopefully you will be able to get yourself back on track. We'll give you that support as a group. So Single with a Purpose is for those mature singles out there. So today being our very first, I'm sweaty, so don't mind all of I'm sweaty, sorry. Okay, so with Single with a Purpose, one of the things, the vision we had is for us to have a community where older people who are single, who have been married before, and who are ready to move on with their lives, or who's lost their spouse and they're ready to move on with their lives, um, can get back into a promising relationship. So that's basically what Single with a Purpose is about. We have the Instagram, which is this, that's Single with a Purpose 1. And we also have, the Facebook page, which is less functional compared to the group. So if you like to join the group of Single with a Purpose, we are, I think, almost 50 in the group. Single mothers, single fathers, all in this group. We try to share different things on a daily basis as time permits, share our life experiences, share things between each other that would be able to look at as helping ourselves grow. All right, so I have my guest right in the, I don't know whether to say in the house already. Sheyi Oshewa Oyedeji is my guest today, my first guest on Single with a Purpose. She will be sharing, yes, she will be sharing her life as a transformational coach and purpose in what situation we found ourselves as men and women, and of course, hey, sis, hi.
Hi.
Oh my goodness, this is you.
Yeah.
And by the way, I'm not just inviting a coach, she's a coach that has been there, done that, and she's out and, living a life to the fullest. So you get to hear all of the story and what it means, to transit from being in that dark place to a place of glory. And hopefully we can have a sequel to this interview, because I like to, as much as possible, keep it at 1 hour for the sake of those that will still watch later. And then probably we'll come back again some other day. And then she can tell us, the other aspects that I don't want us to get into today. But majorly, the purpose of this particular interview is for her to share her book, for her to share her story, and for her to be able to help us to forge ahead. Because you're not just listening to someone who's coming to say, I'm a transformational coach, and they've never had any drastic, dramatic, life changing situation that brought them to a place where they experienced darkness. But when you have a coach who's been there, done that, and is now coming out to say, hey, you know what, from experience, this is how I became who I am, then you can do it as well. So, sis, um, tell me a little bit about your background. Let's start from there.
Okay. Thank you so much. I'm sure you can hear me.
Yes, I yes.
Yeah, yeah, it's such a great privilege, especially when you said I'm the first person. So I'm really privileged to be here. First. I'm so privileged to be here, you know. And my background, I'm the fifth of six children. I call I call myself the last born, even though I'm not the last born, because I'm the last girl. My basic background, I'm a Christian from that home. My first degree was in psychology. Then I went on to do managerial psychology. Then I went on to do cybersecurity. Yeah, so I've gone that journey. So I don't know what bit of my background you want to know, because there's so much in that background. Yeah, but that's
Yes.
basically me. Yeah.
Right. Now, let's talk about your decision to become a transformational coach. I know that from your background, it also affords you that opportunity to want to take your game to another level. But you've had training you're a professional. You're not just coming out to say, oh, I'm a transitional coach. Because these days we have a lot of people claiming they're coaches. So, what does it mean to be a transformational coach? What is that all about?
Okay, so for me, and I'm going to start with, I'm also a transformational coach, like you said, but I'm also an advanced grief specialist, grief recovery specialist, a certified grief, advanced grief recovery. And what that means to me, and you've said it all, is using your pain, using whatever you've gone through to help people transition from where they've been, to where they want to go to. A lot of, and that's the mission. A lot of people that have gone through one pain or the other, it could, a setback. Oftentimes you find out that it's very difficult for them to move past where they have been. And that's where I was some few years ago. And the problem of having to move past that thing created a burden in me that I don't want people to wait this long before they find themselves. I don't want people to wait so much, waste time, waste their life, and they'll not discover when the children are all grown or when it's too late for them to say, oh, I want life back. No, I want us to be able to, move past whatever, because for me, I see pain, I see all those kind of things as a leverage for us in which each person can move to the next step. Because for everything you've been in life, there is a purpose. And that is where I got my own transform. I want to help people to move from point A to point B, enjoying that process, despite the fact that it might be sweet, it might be sour, whatever process, moving people through that journey to a new level. So that's why I have a passion for that.
But it sounds so sweet, and it sounds nice and easy. Is it that easy to move from that place where you don't think that there is a purpose for whatever it is you've gone through? Is it that easy to move from there to a new place?
Oh my God, it's not easy at all. It's not easy, and that's why I felt, and I don't know whether I'm sure you do. I have a charity for widowers and single parents, and that's why I know, because it's not easy. Everybody need each other. One of the things I wrote down is looking for relationship that can hold you up, because that journey is not easy. Even myself, that I'm talking, and we're going to be getting to my story in a couple of minutes. It's not easy, but one thing I know, and one thing I tell people: take one day at a time with a good friend that can help you move along. And that's where I am. To be that friend, to be that listener, because half of the problem sometimes is just having somebody to talk to walk you through that journey, because it could be lonely when you're going through diverse kind of pain. But when you have somebody in your area, they're not judging you. You can be naked, you can be ashamed, you can be scared, and they're not judging you. That will help. It's part of the healing process to move you. So most times it's not easy, but when you have that mindset that whatever I'm going through is for a purpose, then it makes you stronger.
Right. Okay, you have a book. Let's start from there. You have a book. Um, what's the title of the book, and what's, um, got you into writing that book?
Okay. So the book, the name of my book is called Unashamed, a young widow's journey from loss to triumph. So it's on Amazon. So it's called Unashamed, a
Right,
young widow's journey from loss to triumph.
right.
And what got me writing that book, that book is all about my personal story. It's all about my journey, like every single lady, and I know that this platform is for single, divorced, matured, single, and all that. So I was like that some few years ago, I wanted to get married, and I eventually got the love of my life, somebody that I wanted so much. And eventually we got into it after all the paparazzi or posing and playing hard to get. Eventually, we did all that, we got married. But unfortunately, that world came crashing down within a year. So having the big wedding, having people, having the dream that I'm going to go and build my home, I'm going to go and settle down, I'm going to do this, I'm going to have these children, I'm going to have that, all that dream came to a pause. When 1 year into my wedding, into my marriage, everything came crashing down. And that book is all about the story of my life, from how we met, from how we got married, from how he lost himself, and all about my story. So I just felt it's easier for you to help people when when you've been there and you've experienced such. And that's why I said it's better for me to put that in a book, and that's what I've done.
When you talk about, your this personal story of hurt and pain, do you still get that atom of pain, that tingling thing, like, oh, ouch, this happened to me? Do you still get that?
And
Once,
not anymore. Not anymore. Because I feel I've used that pain so much to the extent that looking back, I used to tell people I shouldn't have cried all the crying I've done. Because I used to cry, I used to be very moody, I used to be angry, I used to be bitter, I used to feel a sense of betrayal, I used to feel a sense of we agreed. Why would you do that? Why would you leave? I couldn't understand why he had to go because there was no excuse. And little should I say that he died a day before my birthday. So for every year that I have to celebrate my birthday, he will spoil it because I'll be thinking those years that, oh my God, will I be celebrating his death the day before? Then the next day I'll be having a party. So for many years, I didn't feel like celebrating my birthday. It was just like my life was at a standstill. But now, having poured into so many people, having helped so many people with the charity, with talking, with speaking, I feel I've done so much with that pain that I no longer feel that pain. Of course, I feel the fact that, oh, it's gone to a better place. If it was here, it would have been able to do this or do that. But I don't feel that pain anymore because I've used that pain, as my tool, to help people. So I don't feel it anymore.
okay, tell us a bit about how it all went down. We would, because I know like a complete story, you know, but I don't want to spoil the fun for someone who might who might still pick up the book, because I will encourage somebody to actually pick up the book.
Mm.
Um, because there is something about books. It's intimate. It gives you that ability to imagine and to play into the real world of that person. It gives you the core of all of that person. So tell us, how did you guys meet? What happened until that passing moment?
Okay, I finished my school. Like I said, I did my first degree in psychology. And for those people that are familiar with the Nigerian system, you go and serve. And I was sent to serve in the northern part of Nigeria. I think it was Kaduna then. And my parents said, no way, you've never left Lagos. Why would you go anywhere? And they didn't want that. They were doing everything for me not to go. But at the point, I was like, you know what? I would go and just go for 4 weeks, which was the period that you're in the camp, and come back. But for me, when I got there, after I met him during my service, he was working with the NYC office. So some of the work that they give us there to go to the farm and all that, I just saw this young man, he will come to me and say, you don't need to do the work, I'll get guys to do it for you. I'm like, oh, okay. So, so every time I did go,
Now you're teaching some of us, some of those young ladies, the tricks, the tricks, to finding their way around NYC. That would
yeah.
have been so helpful.
So he said, don't worry about it. I'll get somebody to do all your work for you. I said, oh, okay. So I kept telling people, oh, I've met this person. When everybody goes to the camp, I think it's every Thursday, if I can remember, that you have to go and walk or something. So I started telling people, I've just met this guy, and I don't do anything. And he does, he gives me things. When I go there, he buys things for me. But the thing at that point was, he didn't look the look for me. He didn't have, the look, your dream. I was a Lagos girl, you know,
I
all
know.
the, all the dream and everything. So I was like, you know what do I have to lose anyways? Just 4 weeks. After 4 weeks, I'll get back, just let me drink all his Coke and biscuits and things like that. It didn't look like it. But but after some time, we got close. He was such an humble person. He was really humble. He was down to it. And that was one of the reasons why I didn't like him, because some of the dreams that I like was I want somebody, very tall, macho, all those dreams that we have as single girls then. But I found out that it was deeper. He was a deep person. He was somebody that had aspiration. Even though he was working as in the NYC, his dreams were big. The things, the kind of ideas that he was talking about, like, okay, there's something about this guy. So we started liking each other. And after the service, I got back home and I was like, okay, I would stay in Kaduna. And my parents were like, no, you're not staying in Kaduna. The plan was you're going to be there for 4 weeks. But anyway, I got to stay there because I was posted to, what's it called? I've forgotten the hospital, then a bank, I was just posted. So I was having a good life. I was earning money. I was giving accommodation. I was comfortable in my way. So I thought at that point that, okay. And he was then talking, at the very beginning, he was talking about marriage. So when he was talking about marriage, I said, oh, young man, marriage is not in the scheme of things now. But one thing led to another and all that. And I got home. I gave him a condition. I said, if you get home, if I introduce you to my parents and they don't like you, that's going to be the end of the relationship. Doesn't matter what the excuse is. It doesn't matter what they are. Because my dad, for me, was my priest. He was my priest. I've had that clause in my life that whoever I want to marry, my father must agree to it. So, but I took him home, and to my surprise, he looked exactly like my dad. They shared the same remembrance. Their birthday were just days apart. So everything was just falling into place. And I'm like, okay, so yeah, my dad likes you and all that. But when I got home and told my father and I said, now we want to get married, he was like, no, 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 no. The plan is you finish school and you travel abroad to do your clinical psychology. There's no marriage coming into this discussion now. But one thing led to another. I was able to persuade him to say, oh, this is what I want. I feel I'm right now to do this. And of course, we got married. Things were good. We had to move back to Kaduna. I was working, and he was a very kind man. Then we were living in Kaduna, and he was in Medjugorje. If you know how far Medjugorje and Kaduna is, it's really far. I can't remember. I think the 120 kilometers, if I can remember. And he comes back every weekend just to check on me, to make sure that I'm okay every weekend. So a lot of people got talking that, who is this young man that keeps coming? And every morning when he's going to work, if I've gone, he will come and I just came to check on you. Are you okay? And he will tell my boss, I just want to make this. Could you help me take care of her till I come back? So it became the like of a lot of people, So it was
At this moment, were you guys married? At this moment, were you
yes,
guys?
at this moment we're married. Yeah, we're married because it didn't beat about the bush. It was just like, this is what I want. You're going to be, I'm going to marry you and all that. So it wasn't talking about let's date for long. Or it was talking about, you know what, this is what I want. I like you and all that. And at that point we were married. But the life that we lived, everybody would look and say, oh, what a wonderful couple. Do you know that every morning they will come in, check on her in the office just to see what she's doing? He will go to my boss. Even my boss, I remember my boss that called him and said, young man, what do you want with this girl? You know, so we had that kind of relationship, but it was just for a year. It was just for a short 1 year. You know,
So,
and yeah, go on.
so he died.
Yes. So this particular day was a day before my birthday. So on the Friday, we went shopping and things like that. My birthday was supposed to be Saturday. So we went shopping thinking we invite some people on Saturday, but he got this emergency interview. And I was like, must you do this interview? And why was he doing that interview? Because he wanted to be closer home so that he doesn't have to travel all that long. And he went for the interview, but little did I know that he would never come back. That would be because as his habit, before he travels, he will come to check on me. I just came to check on you, just to tell you bye, make sure you eat, make sure those kind of things, just to check on me. But little did I know that that would be the last time I would ever meet this person again. And he left. After the interview, I called him and said, oh, it was great, fantastic. But the next phone call I got from that was, hello, can I speak to Shay? And I was like, okay, what is this? And they said, oh, okay, your husband just had an accident. And I remember asking the lady, can I speak to him? I didn't even ask about the accident. Can I speak to him? And they gave me the phone, but I noticed that his voice was really, really weak. And I said, what happened to you? And he said, there's nothing, just in his usual habit. Nothing, just a small accident. It was just a small accident. I said, but your voice is giving you away. That is not just a small accident. Anyway, so immediately, because I didn't trust him because he said it's small, it didn't sound small. So I had to tell my boss I had to leave Kaduna and go to Lagos immediately. And immediately I called my parents, to say this has happened. Can somebody quickly go to the express where it's happened and the hospital? They gave me all the details, and so they went. And my father said, just come back to Lagos. We will go ahead of you. So they went ahead while I got to Lagos. But the road in Nigeria, I got to Lagos really late, and it was very, very unsafe for me to travel. So the instruction was, it's late for you to travel, so just stay. When we come back, we'll give you the details. But I remember when my dad came back, he couldn't lie to me. It's very serious. It's a serious accident, and they had to get him blood, they had to give him all that. So it was serious. And the plan was we will see him tomorrow. I'll go the first thing tomorrow. So I spoke to him over the night. We were speaking, we were praying. My mom was praying, I was talking to him. I remember later in the evening, I think in the midnight, he asked me, Shay, where are you? I said, I can't travel in the night, but first thing tomorrow, as early as 5, we will get to it. Little did I know that it was a dream. So the next morning, as you would expect, I was the first to get up, ready, everything set and all that, and we're set to go. But I noticed that my father was going pacing front, back. He got a phone call and he was going back. And he will be asking me questions. Do you have money? I'm like, yes, Daddy, I have money. Will the driver get you there? I know the driver will get me there. Those kind of questions. Eventually, he couldn't take it anymore, and he just went on the floor and was just crying. That's happened. This has never happened to me before. How would you take it? And with our culture, before I knew, there were a lot of elders around me, trying to talk me. But I remember that first thing that I did, and everybody thought I was crazy. And the first thing I said was, "Can I have Gary, please?" Because I've not eaten the day before. And to me, and I was like, you know what? If he was gone at this point, that means God wanted to take him, because we've prayed, we believed, we held hands together, and the scripture of David losing his daughter with Bathsheba just came straight to me, that we've prayed, we've held hands, he is in a better place. There's nothing. I didn't know where the strength came from. So when they said, oh, I think she's in shock, I was like, no, I'm not in shock. I want a cold Gary so that I can calm down and see clearer what has happened. And that was how the trajectory of my life changed completely. And from that point, I had to move back to Lagos. I couldn't fit in as a single person anymore because I was married. I was widowed. I had to move back to my parents' house. So anybody that comes home will see me and wonder, oh, didn't you hear a story? Then the story starts all over again. because I just had to, I had to move everything. So I was in that phase. I was confused. I was depressed. I couldn't express so much of my feelings because my parents were there. If I cried, they say, "Oh, it's because of what's happening." I couldn't be too happy because if I'm too happy, they're like, "Oh, maybe she's just covering up." So there was just a lot of things. So most of the crying that I did were in my private closet because I wanted to be strong to every other person around me except me. But little did I know that I wasn't strong at all. I was carrying a whole lot of burden within me, a whole lot of burden within me because I couldn't express it. Then I decided, and that's when I coined, I didn't even know that there was any word like that. So I coined that title for myself. I said I'm a matured single because I couldn't go to any single forum anymore. I couldn't go to any married forum.
At this moment, how old were you when you got married? All of this period, how old were
Everything,
you?
I lost my husband at 28, going to 29. Yeah, so I was 28 when I lost him. So I was young. I was really young because a lot of people are not even married by 28,
Yeah.
but I lost him at 28, and I was young. I was
You're,
just,
you're almost like in your prime. I mean, nobody should go through. I'm sure you were very naive. Like innocent young girl, story of love. You know,
yeah,
and I know the way we all are, especially being that you were a Lagos girl. I'm sure Ayagbo Ramo was the wedding. Like
yeah, yeah,
she's getting
yeah,
married.
yeah,
I'm like, girls, I'm out of the group, you know. So
yeah,
I can imagine you going from that height and you're coming crashing. I can imagine.
yeah.
And with all of these feelings, why was it difficult for you to express it to even, let's say, people outside your home? I know that you've explained that um, to your parents, because they were like the eagle eye, they needed to monitor you. But
Mm-hmm.
did you have friends you could talk to, pastors? Because usually in this part of the world, we don't have professional traits or
Mm-hmm.
psychologists and all of that. So, who are really in the business of taking you through that journey? I mean, unlike now that we have
Mm-hmm.
people like you
Yeah.
know, weren't there maybe a pastor you could have opened up to, that this is how I feel, unashamed, I'm naked, this is how I feel, and there is no shame in feeling this way.
Okay, I'll tell you why I didn't have a lot of people to talk to because, like I said, my father was a priest. He was an Anglican priest. And the dynamic then was different. It's not like now that you now go to redeem, you have a pastor. No, my father was the priest. So why go to another priest when you have a priest at home?
I get you.
Uh, you know,
Get
and
you.
that was my philosophy. But the issue with that is, it's never been a widow before or a widower. So even with all, he did call me, I remember he did call me a psychologist to come in. But even with all that, the core of the matter, somebody that knows what you are going through, there was nobody. And like I used to say then, I didn't know, there was nobody within my corner, within my family. They were either matured single or single parents, none. I grew so, I think it was even when I got here that I knew that, oh, single parents and all that. I wasn't privy to that. I know it does exist, but it wasn't close. So most of my friends then, some of them were not even married. So if I'm not telling them about widow, is not what they were thinking about. They were thinking about getting a man to marry. So I was even a taboo to work with because how would you tell me, oh, that's my friend that she just lost her husband? As a mother, you're like, okay, that eyes that they will look at you and so I didn't fit into that line, and that's why I said anything single I'm not going to, anything married I'm not going to. So where do I fit into? I can't tell my mom because I didn't want to keep on breaking their heart. And if I got to work, there was nobody to talk to. But I was lucky. The only person I could talk to was when they moved me back when I came back from the north. And I relocated because my office had to relocate. I actually asked to be relocated back to Lagos. And the first office I worked with then, there was a lady that I met there, and she was a widow. Yeah. So it's as if God prepared her for me. So then when I get to the office, and people were walking, I didn't feel like walking. I was in depression. I would just be crying. So she would pet me. She said, you know what, just go into the room, just calm down. My boss then wearing happy that we are paying her. Why is she crying? Yes, she should move on. What's all that? If you get home, go and cry. But she was like my pedal. She gave me a soft landing when I got there. She was a friend. She would talk to me. She would come home to check on me. She won't say so much. She told me about her own story. That her husband was shot by the gate, and how she had a child. So she was like my elder sister in that realm, because that was the only person I knew then that was a widow, and that was the only person I could talk to. So there was nobody, and that's why it seems as if I didn't have so many people to talk to, because no one understood. I didn't know anybody that's been a widow. I didn't know anybody. So there was really nobody to talk to about me, and I didn't want to be crying in front of my parents. I would just go into my room and do all the crying and singing by myself. So that was it.
It must have really been lonely. So apparently, when somebody is going through this season of one's life, it's
Mm.
safe to say that it will be a lonely journey. It could be a lonely journey. So how is it that for somebody who's watching and listening to you, how is it that you would say they should move from that place of loneliness to that place where they have someone to comfort them? How do they actually match from that place of loneliness to that place where they have confidence?
Yes. So it's like you said, it's a very lonely journey. It is a very lonely journey. And no one, everybody, once it happened, when you get that news, is either is a phone call, either is at your bedside. Once you get that news, and may we not get such news again in our life. Once you get such news, you would go automatically into a place of loneliness. And it can be expressed in so many forms. It could be denial. For me, I was like, is this a lie? It's not happening. It will come back. It will come back. And maybe I'm dreaming. So you go through that stage of, is it true? Is it not true? Oh, I'm just dreaming. It's true. Yes. Okay, what do I do? So there's that stage of loneliness, which is allowed because everybody has the right to grieve the way you want to grieve. But what you are not allowed to do is to stay in that state for so long, because that is where it becomes counterproductive to you to
Right.
stay lonely. So just imagine if I was there in that room for years, crying, not able to move on. Life would stop. So it's okay, and that's why I tell people, take your time. Take your time. And in that period when you are lonely, right? In that period that you're lonely, get somebody. And that's why even for me now, when I help people in the early, when we are just starting, when they introduce somebody to me that I've just lost, I'm just there. I don't say anything. Once the person said, I'm happy to work with Shay, and they introduce me to the person, in the first few months or few days or thereabout, I don't say anything. I just want the person, whatever the person wants to say, yes, say it. Because I want them to have their space and just let out some things in them. So it's natural for you to be lonely, but what becomes counterproductive if you are lonely for too long. And you have to understand that, and it's a mindset. It's not easy, but you have to understand that every problem that you face in life introduces you to a new person, introduces you to you. So even in that place of loneliness, you begin to discover some things about you. A good example about me, in that period of loneliness, I started experiencing that, oh, I'm having issue with my self-esteem. I'm having, this thing is affecting me. I didn't feel like going out anymore. I didn't want to be a friend to anybody. Do you understand? I wasn't comfortable with the married people because I didn't want them thinking I'm taking their husband. I didn't want to be with the single because I didn't fit into that single anymore. So I started discovering that bit. And that's why it's important that you have people around you that will listen to you, that can tell you that, oh, you're lonely, you're thinking like this, do like this, do like this. And that's why I do with those coaching clients I have, to be able to walk them through, holding their hands, say, this is through this methodological way of helping people transit from that point of loneliness to a place where they can get themselves again and become something.
Right. It's really been a very, very long journey. Like I said, by God's grace, I'm going to ensure that I drag you back for a continuity of this, because something far greater also happened to you after um, after the gentleman in your life,
Mm-hmm.
you know, when he passed on. Some certain things happened in your life. I would say you went from that moment of loss to another another phase entirely, which I don't want to disclose because I need somebody to get the book. And right now, it's even more surprising, more shocking that you are in another phase. And
Yeah.
I can't wait for you to share those two aspects of your life. Because, like I was talking to a gentleman, I'm not going to mention his name, he's in our group on WhatsApp.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a time we said, okay, let everybody introduce themselves. And according to what he said, he has two kids. And he said um, his wife passed on. So one of the times, and everybody were like, "Oh, you're strong," and he said the children are with him. So it's not in all cases where you have a single parent who decided to take all the children, to himself. He would rather
Mm-hmm.
maybe relatives, maybe the wives, relative, and all of that. But he didn't do that. So everybody really admired him in the group because it's a closed WhatsApp group. So one of the times, I think about 2, 3 weeks ago, I had the privilege of like having an intimate conversation with him through the chat. Guess what? His wife didn't die. He lied. He lied. But what happened? What happened was it was a terrible marriage.
So you had a blockage that, you know what? You're dead.
Yeah, exactly. He killed a poor woman. He said it was a terrible marriage. You rather not even remember her for anything
Mhm.
at all.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
like if like how do you begin to say on an open group that is even close? Well, to say, oh, I'm divorced because my wife was a terrible person. So to him, it's better to say she died. So,
Mm.
and he was like, oh, don't worry, I've gotten over it. But trust me, from
Yeah.
what I saw, okay, we have FBI photos said Jesus Christ. And 133 creation says, that's a serious one. Ola's motivation, thank you for joining us. Okay, so when we began to talk, he said, this woman showed me Pepe.
Mm.
And they were married. Okay, they dated for quite some time. I think maybe 7 years or something. And then they got married. In total, everything was like 12 years. So he said the woman showed him Pepe. And he's happy, yes, he's out of the marriage. But, it looked like he hadn't recovered. But he was telling me that, oh, he's recovered, he's healed. I said, yes, you sound like you've healed, but you're not all. You're not all yet. So for someone like you, because when you were talking, I remember this is like the second time I'm hearing your story. The first time was in one of our groups, and then this is like the second time. I was almost moved to tears. And the first time as well, the same thing. And I was trying to look at your eyes like, is she gonna cry? Is she gonna cry? But you didn't. And I could see that you've gotten to a point of allness. So how can someone like this, if you have gotten there, how can someone like this friend of mine or this group member of mine, how can he get to that point of wholeness? For someone who's gone through bad marriage, I know of another person in the group whom they've divorced, like 3 years ago or 5 years ago. The woman is still asking for 15 million naira after 5 years ago. She's still battling him and they're still in court. And she wants custody. She wants, what's this thing you pay for children? Child support.
Yeah.
Child support for children who are like I think the last one is like 18. So what are you asking for child support for? If not that you want to punish this man, you want to make him suffer. And you've gotten all his wealth, you've gotten lands, properties, and everything. So what more could you want? So when such men and women as well, a woman that has been battered, the man don't give up, no, to the left, to the right, dashboards and all that. And you are now talking about, hey, you need to forget about all of that and settle down again. Of course, they're going to like, hey, don't bring that. So how can people like this who suffered pain, maybe grief, loss, how can they get to that point of wholeness?
Okay. That's a very, very good question because, that's what I do with clients almost every day. The first thing I want to tell, the first thing I
did you
want
hear
to tell
me?
people. Yeah, I did. Can you hear me? I can hear you. Yes, I heard you. Can you hear me?
Hear me?
Yes, yes, yes. Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Yes. So the first thing
Okay.
I want to say, so the first thing I want to say, because this is what I do like on every day, I just get people, refer people to me, book a session and all that, is to tell such people that they are not alone. And to tell them that there's a place, I don't call it closure, we call it a place of completeness. Because that part of your life is still there. But you must be able to know that there's a place of completeness that you can get to, which is where I've gotten to. And there's a lot of ways in which people can get to a place of completeness. What a lot of things you've described is like that man in the prison, that they have opened the prison gates, but he's still holding on to the prison bar. That's what happened to a lot of people. And that's why we work with a lot of people to let go of the prison. And there's a lot of ways that they can do that. Number one, accepting the fact that I've missed this. Accepting this fact to be able to sit down and write each of that story where the pain is. Some people might tell you that, oh, I'm over with it, oh, she's gone. But when you sit down, you know that there's still a lot of incompleteness with that grief, with that loss, with that woman that's left them, with that man that's left them, with everything. They've never spoken to anybody, they have never said anything about it. So one of the places that we start is to take them on a journey to understand. Tell me about your pain. I remember I did a challenge, I think last month, and it was on a Facebook, and I said, you know what, the first one is write your story. Just write it. Can you imagine that it's just only one person that could physically write it and post it? And can you imagine? And a lot of people there, they've lost their wife or 10 or 15. And even the lady that wrote it said, she have never physically sat down to write this story, to write, to pour my story with paper, with pen, to be able to write. Then another thing that we do a lot of things, and in the coaching, to understand what it, and it's not only even the pain of whether you've lost. It's a story and history of, tell me all the different pains you've gone through in life. The marriage bit most often is what we see, but the climax. I did have a patient. I said a patient. I did have a coaching client. That yes, she's lost somebody. Do you understand? She's lost somebody, but that was the climax of the pain. She'd had so many child abuse cases. She's been abused. She's had so many of all those laws. So it's understanding the journey of that person called that individual standing in front of you. Yes, that separation or whatever broke the camel's back, but to understand them, then understanding what habits that they are using to cover up, the defense mechanism that they have used over years. For me, what I did use as a defense mechanism was pour myself into my work. I was working in the bank. So I poured everything. I go from morning, how the banking is in Nigeria, go from the morning, come back in the night, go on the, I do whatever. I was covering that in. And a lot of people do cover with a lot of things. Some cover with work, some cover with eating excessively, some cover with, so it's understanding. We call them steps. What are those steps that you are having, that you are using? Because once you begin to take those steps out, once you begin to take those covering out, you now begin to see that real person. Do you get what I'm saying? You now begin to see. So it's all different kind of journey, and that's why and that's why for me, when it happened to me and I started a charity and I was helping people, because I was meeting people, I began, to think of things that scientifically I want to help people.
The network,
Okay.
Shay, the network is breaking.
Is it?
The network is breaking.
Is it better now?
The network is breaking. I didn't get a little bit of the last things you said.
Okay, so I said that. I said, so when you start uncovering those things that they have used as defense mechanism over time, some even feel pain to that person that does that. For me, the pain I felt was the pain of betrayal. Why would he do this to me? We agreed. We agreed. So for a very long time, I was pained about the loss, but I was more pained about the betrayal. Are you getting me? So there are a lot of things that when when a lot of people see that flower, that flower has been broken. But by the time you start taking out each of the pieces on the layer, you understand that there are a lot of things out there that you can use to help that person. But the first thing is the person acceptance. That acceptance that I need help. That acceptance that I'm willing to go on this journey to uncover myself and discover the new me. So that's it.
Thank you. Thank you. I did get one or two things from what you said. People need to understand that they are not alone. They need to come to that understanding that they're not alone, because really it sometimes feel like the world is a lonely place and like nobody understands what you're going through. But and I think this is where we need to hammer on people like you, for those who are going through grief, going through some sort of loss, some sort of pain, to please have a talk with someone that knows the way and can show them the way. In all of this life lessons and all of that, you've also been able to channel your pain to a purpose, to a cause. Tell me about that cause for you.
The cost is diverse for me because, like I said, I do have a charity for widows, widowers, and single parents, which I support both here and both in Nigeria, which we've been doing that since 2017, trying to help people and people signposting people to us. But apart from that, also, my main passion is helping people discover their purpose in their pain. And that's why I have that live show that I do, which is called Finding Pain in Your Purpose. Because I know I've seen a lot of people, that Years back, they thought life would finish. Years back, they thought nothing would come out from there. But now they are doing marvelous things. Yeah. And I've been doing that program since 2017, where I bring people to come share their story. So my passion is whatever you are going through, whether you are single, whether you are divorced, whether you are financially broke, whether things are not working, whether there's conflict, whether there's problem of identity, whatever problem or pain you've gone through, there is a purpose in it. There is, and that purpose is your message. That mess is your message. That delay is your message. Don't waste it. Don't waste it. Don't waste it for anything. Don't let anybody look you down. Oh, because she's a widow. And if you're a widow that you're watching me, tell them that is not your nickname. That's not your last name. Change it. Change that name. Don't let them call you that. You're not any widow of Zarephath. Let nobody call you any name. Call yourself your name. Call yourself the name you want to be called. When they call me other name, I say, that's not my name. My name is Oluwaseyi. The Lord has given me to take care of. So if you want to come near, you must know how to take care of me. Jameson, so change your name. Don't let anybody pull you down because you've gone through something, because you are almost 40, you are not married, because you are waiting for a child. No, my dear, your time will come. You are great, you are beautiful, you are wonderful. A delay is not denial. And the people that are having it, seemingly they are having it, be happy for them. But at the same time, no, call those things that were not as if they were. Call yourself. I'm calling this onto me. I'm receiving this. Yes, it's not yet the time, but mine is still coming. I might be delayed. I might be slowed down. But at the end of it, the glory and the lifter of my head will lift me up. I will become, just call those and let nobody look down at you. You are the apple of God's eyes. And don't settle for less. Don't say because you're a widow now settle for a man with 500 wives and all that and treating you like that. You are a king. You are a prince. No. Lift up your shoulder. Save yourself. You are a child of the Most High. He's engraving your name in his palm. Nobody has your DNA. Nobody. You are special. So tell yourself that man will come. Don't settle for anything less than what you have ever dreamt of to be. Don't let situation determine you. No. Tell yourself you are going there, you are going places, and you'll get there. Don't be discouraged. And like you said, my story is big, and I'm so passionate about this. So let no man, don't let your mistake, don't say, oh, because I've been raped, because I've been abused, and let that be, you're stopping. No, use that as a story. Let people laugh at you. Use it as a story to help other people so that you can prevent them from falling into those mistakes you did fall into. So
And you know what it seems to me that what that woman did for you while you were going through that moment of grief at your workplace after the gentleman died. It seems to me that sometimes the things that we go through, God uses it to be a blessing to somebody else. Now, the moment we are not coming out of that despondency to be all, it means that we are not even fulfilling God's calling upon our life. We are not fulfilling God's purpose for us. And that's why I so much appreciate, I appreciate what you've gone through in life. I appreciate where you are, and I appreciate what you're doing. It's really, really fantastic. For somebody listening and watching, Sheyi Oyedeji has a book, Unashamed, right? Unashamed. It's on Amazon. We can also maybe DM in case you have an issue that you'd like to talk to her about. If somebody is trying to reach you, how can they reach you?
Okay, if you can DM me actually to reach me, because I have different coaching groups and things that I can help you with. If you're going through, you need somebody to talk through, you want a free 30 minutes talk with me, you can DM me or either send me an email to shei.findingpurpose@gmail.com, where I talk to people and people reach out to me, or you have a story, that you want to share, that is powerful, that you want somebody to talk to you or help you. I'm so passionate. If you're listening to me now or you're listening to me or you're going to listen to me on replay, you are not alone. Please reach out to me, DM me, send me an email, shei.findingpurpose@gmail.com. Let's talk together, even if it's, like I said, my contribution to the humanity to give that 30 minutes to you, because I'm telling you, the whole world is waiting for your manifestation. Let no man stop you. You are going places to manifest. So get every help that you need to make you get to your place of success. DM me, send me an email. I'm also on Facebook, Sheyi Oshewa Oyedeji, and reach out to me. Yeah.
All right, thank you very much. There is, like I said, the other parts, of your life's journey into
Yeah.
that into that transition, and then when you come back, by God's grace, we will plan it. When you come back, I'd like us to talk about something that has to do with clarity, because for you to be able to, I don't want to let the cat out of the bag. For you to be able to find love again, for you to be able to say, you know what, I love myself, I'm cool with myself, and I have enough space and enough love, to be able to accept somebody else into my life again. It means that you had clarity, you had soundness of mind, and when we come back, on a sequel to this interview, we will be discussing about how to have clarity
Mm-hmm.
when you've gone through pain and when you've suffered. Probably you've gone through rape and hindrances that set you back, and you don't want to even touch relationship at all. Like this person I told you about, him saying his wife died. I was like, there are lovely ladies inside the group. Try and even be chatting some of them up, relax. And he said, let me tell you the truth while I'm even in this group. I didn't join this group to come and find anybody. I joined the group because I just want to be hearing people's story.
He's honest.
I just want to. I like learning from people's experiences, people's life. I like learning and listening to people, and that's why he said a lot of times I don't comment, and all of. I said what? He said, well, that's the truth, and he said the children are with me. My mother lives with me. I said, what about do you have a girlfriend? He said, not really. He has people he talks to, but relationship, he doesn't even want to go there. And the danger for so many people who have gone through divorce, separation, who are widowers, is that by the time they get old, by the time the children are all grown, they're left all alone. It will become another terrible phase of life.
Yeah.
My father suffered it because he couldn't move himself to a place where he is all again to accept another woman into his life. So he began to live a life for himself. This is how I want it to be done. And by the time he realized, I think it was about 60 that he felt, okay, let me try and suckle off to another woman. It looks like it was too late. He couldn't bring himself to share his life again. And if not for the fact that he had children, he would have died a lonely man. He was basically most part of his life he was all by himself. So that's one of the bad aspects, of people not being all again to get into that place of relationship. And that's where you come in, by God's grace, for you to share with us how you did it. You have your claws. You have
Yeah.
your claws digging into somebody.
I would just like I would definitely be happy to help anyone, because it pains my heart. I've seen a lot of people. After the children have gone back to school, they've gotten now the reality comes. You don't have to allow the reality hold you back. Don't wait till then. And that's why that picture, I keep telling you that there's a picture a lot of us had for ourselves when we were 10, when we were 8, when we were younger. And because something has happened to us, we drop that picture. If there's anything you're going to listen to me today and you're watching me, go back and pick that picture and start drawing it again. Imagine, I used to tell people, if nothing has happened to you, would you still have that dream? If they tell me yes, then go and pick it up. You have always wanted to be a doctor, go and pick it up. You have always wanted to be a princess, marry Prince Charles, go and pick it up and start. Let that vision be your steering. So that when you're